to dress up for a speech today. Civil disobedience. I want to talk about the definition of civil disobedience and the history of the term, and also some major examples throughout life history. Civil disobedience is the intentional disregard for public policy in hopes of changing that policy, and is usually associated with nonviolent protest. And I feel like a nice definition. Public, nonviolent, and conscientious breach of law undertaken with the aim of bringing about a change in laws or government policies. That's from the Stanford Encyclopedia of Philosophy. And I'm going to talk about where this term came from. And it's from Henry David Thoreau, who was born in Concord, Massachusetts in 1817 and attended Harvard University. And he was a well-known transcendentalist, as you may know, and an abolitionist. Good dude. He wrote an essay called Civil Disobedience, on the duty of civil disobedience. And he was arrested for not paying a poll tax, and it was towards the Mexican War and the extension of slavery, and he didn't want to support this. And they jailed him for it overnight, and he decided to write this essay. And a good quote that sums up what he was saying is, "I do not lend myself to the wrong which I condemn." That's nice. Civil rights, these are all examples, the next slides, of places where civil disobedience was used. Martin Luther King, late 60s, he studied Thoreau and his essay, and he would protest the segregation using sit-ins and bus rides and march on Washington and whatnot. And there's a nice picture of India. During the early 19th or 20th century, Gandhi, you probably know him, the Europeans were suppressing the Indians, and he used the idea of satyagraha and nonviolent protest to protest this, and ended up turning the entire thing around and gaining freedom for India. And the last is in Rome, all the power was in wealth and the senatorial power. And the lower classes, the only thing they had was numbers. And they used the army because when they didn't get what they wanted, and the army would just go on top of a hill and just refuse to fight for the Senate's beliefs. And there was nothing they could do about it because they would lose all their power, which was numbers at the point. This was non-violent usually, and they ended up getting power in the government with the tribune person because of this non-violent protest. And so those are some examples. And basically, civil disobedience, it's around today. You see the march on Wall Street right now happening. It's all non-violent, and it's still going today.